All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to ATP Live Monday. We're just going to first share the video so that we can all see and we can all hear. Share the videos. Okay, so let me just share. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to ATP Live Monday. How has your day been? I hope you've had a lovely day. Um, this program where you get to ask any questions that you may have about the health of your children and you get immediate answers live. All right, welcome where you're joining us from on Instagram, on Facebook. You're all welcome. I'm also just trying to share the link to everybody that needs to join us. Okay. All right. We'll soon start. Let me just. Okay. So I think I've shared the video. I just want to pin it. But you're welcome. If you have any question, you can start to drop your question while I'm doing all the sharing and the pinning. And then we can get to start. I don't know if I can see my video. Okay. Okay. I can't seem to be able to pin the video. Anyway, let me just leave it. All right. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to ATP Live Monday. This is a program where you get to ask any questions that you may have about the health of your children and then get immediate answers live from a pediatrician. So we just got 60 minutes to do that. So feel free to start to drop your questions and I will try and answer them in the next 1 hour. I'm looking for the video. I don't know why I can see our video. Okay. Please also share the video and invite your friends and family to join us as well. Okay. Happy new month to everyone. I hope it will be a lovely month, and I hope you've enjoyed the first half of the year so far. I'm not sure my light is so good. Let's put it from there. Okay, not sure whether it's better. Okay, let's do it from here. Okay, this is better. Okay. So, welcome to the Ember Months, and I hope it will be a lovely one for all of us. All right. So, if you have any questions about the health of your children, feel free to start to ask your questions now, and then we will try and answer them in the next 1 hour. So, welcome everyone to ATP Live Monday. All right. Okay. I'm not sure why I can't see the video on my page. All right, but anyhow, we'll manage. There seems to be a lot of issue with Facebook. Okay, for those on Facebook, just let me know whether you can see the video because I can't seem to see it, which is quite strange. All right, let me just go. Okay, maybe I need to go into. Okay, I've seen it now. All right. Okay, and I need to just pin it. Okay, I think there's a little bit of lag on the a little bit of lag on the Facebook, but it's fine. All right. But if you can hear me and if you can see me, just let me know so that I know that I'm not the only one here. And we can start. Okay, maybe I just need to change it to Axe Pediatricians Foundation. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Okay, all right. I think I finally got the hang of it. Okay, good. All right. So, welcome everyone. Sorry for the little bit of break back and forth, but let me just know if you can hear me and you can see me in the comment section. Welcome to a new month. It's going to be a lovely, lovely month, and I hope we have had a lovely year so far. Uh, all the same, no matter what, whether some of our dreams have come true or not, we still have about 4 months in the year. So, is it 4 months? Yes, 4 months in the year. So, a lot can still happen. So, welcome to ATP Live Monday. It's a program brought to you by Atp Pediatricians Foundation. Atp Pediatrician Foundation is committed. Okay, thank you so much, Lillian Cruz. Happy New Month to you as well. Atp Pediatrician is, oh, thank you, Lillian, for letting me know you can hear me. Yeah, I was initially worried whether people can hear me or see me. Okay, Atp Pediatricians Foundation is committed to the health and welfare of all children globally, and especially our children in sub-Saharan Africa, where lots of our children are still dying from preventable treatable conditions. So we do that through our health promotion, health awareness, and online and offline we do community medical outreaches. So we are all for the health of our children. So this program today is one of those programs where you get to ask any questions that you may have about the health of your children in 60 minutes, and we will try and answer them. But for you to also be aware that if you have any questions after the live session, you can always still go, you can always come back and you can go to our Facebook group and ask your questions. So, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. So, no difficulties at all with that. All right. So you're welcome, everyone. So feel free to start to drop your questions and we will try and answer them live. But after the live session, if you still have questions, please go to our Facebook group, post your questions there, and we will answer them for you. So welcome, whether you're joining us on Instagram, you're joining us on Facebook, you're joining us on YouTube. We are very happy to have you here today, and we are here to answer any questions that you may have about the health of your children. I can't see any questions so far, so feel free to start to ask your questions, and I will try to answer them. August was our breastfeeding month, and I think week as well. We did a lot of awareness, and I'm so sure many of us learned quite a lot from that. But if you still have any question, feel free to ask, and then we will try and answer them. All right, Sim, I have my first question from Chinenye Eze. See, my baby's weight at 6 weeks is 5.5 and the birth weight is 3.5. I say, okay, it is perfectly okay. It's more than okay, okay? So a lot of mothers ask us questions about weight, and we've already created we have a website where we've written articles on how to know whether your baby's weight is okay. So you may want to also check that. But your baby's weight is fine. But I always like to teach mothers do it yourself approach, so that if you have those kind of questions in future and you don't have opportunity to quickly ask a pediatrician, you can also figure it out yourself. Many of us also have this our immunization card, either green card or different states. Some states have like a book, and I know Lagos states have one look like a booklet. So there's a page in that book or immunization card that is about weight, and it looks like a graph, okay, and you have some lines drawn on that graph. So you will have the weights on one axis, the y-axis, if you remember your mass, and then you have the age of the child on the horizontal axis, which is the x-axis. And so if you trace your child's current weight and you try and join it to the age as at the time when they, so most of the age is written in months. So you have 0, 1, 2. So if you want to get 6 weeks, that'll be between 1 and 2 months. So you just draw like a line, or you put a pencil through it, and then you trace the weight of your baby like 5.5, and you trace it and join them together. As long as the two of them are meeting they are not above the topmost line and they are not below the lowest line, that means that weight is okay. So that is how to know your baby's weight. So you usually, if it's around the middle line, that middle line is the 50th centile. That is the average line. So if it's closer to the top line, it means it's closer to higher value for normal. I mean, it's closer to the upper normal. If it's closer to the lower line, that means closer to the lower normal. But as long as it's not outside any of the two extreme lines, then that means that weight is okay. So that's one of the easiest way for you to do it. And if you're a techie mom, you can download apps. There are lots of apps that can track your baby's weight for you. So if you are somebody who is very techie, just download all these babies monitoring weight apps. There are several of them, anyone that is WHO or whatever, and you can actually use it to track your baby's weight as well. So you just put in the weight, you put in the age, date of birth of your baby, and automatically it will tell you the percentile, and all as long as it's above the 50th percentile and not above the 95th percentile, all that is still within normal. So I just want to always use this opportunity to teach people how to do it yourself. All right, so that's fine. Lillian is asking, is 14 kg too much for a year and a month old baby? Birth weight is 3190. Okay, so the birth weight is normal. Birth weight can be between 2.5 and 4 kilos. So any weight less than 2.5 will be low. Any weight above 4 kilos will be high. So your baby has a normal birth weight, which is okay. Averagely, so when we talk about weight, height, and stuff like that, I always want us to remember the concept of average. If you remember how tall we all are, we are not all the same height, but that does not mean everybody is short or everybody is too tall or anything. So there's always like a gradual how like a gradient, for height and weight, things like that. So as long so for an average, so when we talk about what is the normal weight, or we're usually talking about average, that is what majority of people, 50th centile, like 50% of people we have. So an average 1-year-old should be weighing 10 kilos. That is the average weight for a 1 year old. So if your 1 year old is weighing 14 kilos, that is above normal. Okay. um 14 kilos, so usually an average 1 year old should weigh 10 kilos. An average 2 year old will weigh 12 kilos, and an average 3 year old will weigh 14 kilos. So if your 1 year old is having the average weight of a 3 year old, then that is on the high side. Okay. And I think for us, the most important thing is to know why. Sometimes for some people, they tend to have high weight and all that, but even then, for a 1 year old, we won't want it to be above 12 kilos. So by the time you are getting to 14, that is really, really overweight. Okay. In as much as we want our children to have normal weight, because a lot of people always ask, oh, my baby is not chubby, blah blah blah. When it comes to weight, we want it to be normal. We want it to be within the average. We don't want it too low. That is malnutrition, but we also don't want it too high. Even what we call overnutrition is also malnutrition. Okay, so malnutrition can be under nutrition where the children have low weight. It can also be overnutrition when they are overweight as well, because we want to make sure there's nothing wrong. So I would therefore recommend that you pay attention to the child's diet, take off all the junk food, all those biscuits, all those pastries. Make sure this child is very active. Let's not be giving our children devices and keeping them hooked onto TV or cartoons and devices all day. I know we're all busy moms, so the temptation is always to babysit our children with the TV, but it's not good for them. So let them go out, let them run around, let them play, let them just run around and play, burn off those energy and all that. But sometimes it could be a medical explanation. So I always recommend you see a pediatrician so that they can do a proper evaluation of the child, and then they'll be able to tell you whether that child's weight is due to a medical condition. Because there are medical conditions that even for a child who is not eating a lot and not with active, they can gain weight rapidly from a medical perspective. So it's not because of food; it's about and health issues, and we sometimes need to deal with that as well. All right. I hope, Lillian, that is clear. But that does not mean you should start starving the child. All right. No, let the child eat healthy, lots of fruit, lots of veggies, lots of activity, and make sure there's no other medical issue, and your baby will be fine. All right. Let's see the next question. Why is it not showing? Okay. Oh, blessings. So let's say my friend went for immunization at 15 months, and my card is showing 16 months. Who went for immunization? Because I'm kind of confused. You said your friend went for immunization at 15 months, but your own card. So I'm not sure what the question is. So the question is it when should your baby go for immunization or what? Because I'm kind of confused. Anyway, if you are in Nigeria, our national program of immunization, we give immunization at birth, we give immunization at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, we give at 9 months, we give at 15 months. Okay, so those are the periods we give immunization. That does not mean we don't ask you to come to this. So some health centers ask you to come to the health centers for other reasons as well. So for example, we give vitamin A at 6 months. Vitamin A, strictly speaking, is not immunization. So people like us don't count it as immunization. But if you're getting vitamin A for your baby, that will be at 6 months, 12 months, every 6 months for up to the age of 5 years. All right. So I'm not sure why you say your own card is showing system. Are you saying that they gave you an appointment and that appointment is actually when your baby is 16 months? Now, another thing you need to be mindful of is that some health centers give immunizations at a convenient date for them, not necessarily the exact date. Because, for example, the immunization they're going to give your baby, the vaccines they are going to administer at 15 months is their immunization that are, how do we call them now? These are immunization that are multi-dose vials. So in other words, once you open it, it will it will have multiple doses like measles, yellow fever. So you have to give to many people. So because of that, most immunization center cannot just give everybody exactly the day their children turn 15 months, because that means we're going to have a lot of wastage. So for vaccines like measles, like BCG, like yellow fever that have multi-dose vials, we have to pull the children together. So they tend to give the immunization once a month, okay? Maybe, or some may do it depending on how many children are in the area. So they tend to do it in a way that all of you will come together. So some people will come, maybe your baby just turned 15 months. Some people will come when the baby is already over 15 months, and some people will come almost like if your baby was born towards the end of when they gave the last one. So you know what, your baby was not yet 15 months when they gave the last one, and then and maybe it was the following day your baby become 15 months. By the time they're giving the next one, your baby will be closer to 16 months. So it does not mean your baby should take the immunization at 16 months. The immunization is supposed to be given at 15 months. Okay, but sometimes because of the pooling of taking many children at the same time for the same vaccine, it's possible for your children date to be a little bit different, but they still we still count it as a 15 month immunization. Maybe that is what is happening in your own scenario. So um but the best people to ask to clarify from is your health center. So you can always call them, you can always ask them about the dates on your immunization card, and they can give you an explanation. We are not too rigid. The most important thing is that your child should take that vaccine. So whether 15 months, 16 months, just make sure you don't mix it. Just make sure that the child take the vaccine. I hope that's okay. All right, and then okay, Lilian is saying your child is feeding on breast milk and fruits. That is good. Like I said, there are other reasons why a child could be overweight, even if they are eating healthy. So that is why you need to get to see a pediatrician, just to make sure there are no other health reasons why um, your child could be overweight, but the child is really overweight, and it is not too good for the heart of a child to be overweight. And so we want children to have healthy weight right from the beginning. So the earlier we know what is going on and the earlier we work on it, the better. So I'm happy the child is eating healthy, but your child should also not be just be on breast milk and fruits only. The child should be on other food. So please let the child eat a variety, but we need to know why the child is overweight. So that is the most important thing. All right, I don't think I have any other question going on right now. So but if you have any question, feel free to ask. I can't see questions on Instagram. We are happy you're here. So feel free to ask any question that you have as well, and I will try my best to answer them. All right. So today has been a lot about weight and immunization, and these are very important things. So they are part of what we call our child survival strategies. So there are things that help our children to live and not die. And so one of those strategies is that we have to monitor the growth of the children. So I'm happy we're all asking questions about growth, because we found that 50% of children that die before their fifth birthday, one factor that is usually underlying it is malnutrition. So for us as pediatricians, the weight of children is so important to us, because when children have good weight, healthy weight, they are, even when they are ill or when they face any illness, they are likely to survive, compared to a child has who is already underweight. That child is more likely to succumb. So, for example, if a child who has a normal weight has malaria, that child is likely going to respond better compared to a child who who is underweight. So, a child who is already underweight is likely going to have severe malaria compared to a child who has good weight. So, those are some of the things we deal with. So it's so important for us that our children have a healthy weight, and right from the beginning, because that alone will help their immunity, will help them to fight all those infections on their own, and then we can only support them. But if the children are already on the ways, and then it's much, much easier for any illness to kind of finish off the child. So that is why it's so important that we get the weight correctly. So, and we already talked about how we feed our children. For the first 6 months, it should be breast milk. From 6 months, breast milk continued, and we had other food. Okay, so that is about weight monitoring. And then we talk about the immunization, very important. There's no reason for our children to go through some of those health issues that we can prevent. So immunization is supposed to protect our children and prevent some of these other health issues for them. All right. Okay. I got more questions on Facebook. Let's take question from Chinanye Eze. You're asking, what is the main cause of spinal bifida? Some said it's lack of folic acid. While there are mothers that don't take routine drugs but give birth to a healthy baby, there are other things that can cause it. Okay, thank you very much. So spinal bifida, for those who may not know, is a medical condition that babies are born with, and when babies are born with this condition, uh, there is protrusion of the either the covering of the spinal cord, or the covering of the spinal cord and on some portion of the spinal cord itself coming out. So you see like a swelling at the back of the baby. I don't know whether I have a picture here. Maybe later I'll find it. So that's what we call spinal bifida. There are different kind of spinal bifida actually. There is a spinal bifida, we call it spinal bifida occulta, whereas there is some abnormality in the formation of the spinal cord and the bones and the coverings of the spinal cord, but some of it you cannot say it. The only way we know is that there may be a little dimple or a tuft of hair around the area of this of the back of the child. But there are also what we call the spinal bifida, cystica, the one that you can see, and that is where you see the protrusion at the back of the baby. It could be just the covering of the spinal cord, what we call the meningocele, or it could be covering of the spinal cord and parts of the spinal cord coming out of the back of the baby, and we call that myelomeningocele. And it can spread, it can cover like maybe one part of the spinal cord or multiple parts. I'm trying to avoid using medical jargons. So that is what happened. Now, how does spinal bifida happen? During the formation of the brain, and the brain and the spinal cord, what we call the central nervous system, they are one of the earliest organ that is formed in the baby. We call them it's formed from what we call neural tube. Now, most mothers don't even know they are pregnant when the tube is formed at 3 weeks. Okay, so which is why it's so important that I always say mothers who are likely to be pregnant, if you are a mother of childbearing age, you are having regular intercourse. If you're a girl, a woman, a female, okay, let's put it as a female of childbearing age who is sexually active, and you can be pregnant, you are not using any form of contraceptive, it is important that you take folic acid every day, because most people get pregnant without planning for it. Most of the baby's organs are formed in the first 8 weeks of life. Most mothers don't even know they are pregnant at that time. Okay, so that is why it's so important. One of the if anything goes wrong during the formation of the brain and the spinal cord at third week of conception, is can one of the complications that we can have is spinal bifida. It's one of what we call the neural tube defects. It's a neural tube defect. It means that neural tube that's supposed to form into the brain and the spinal cord, something went wrong. Okay, now what are the things that could go wrong? If at that time there's a lot of rapid division of cells and stuff like that, so we need a lot of folic acid. So if there's not enough folic acid, there could be a problem and with that neural tube, and that can lead to it. Some babies are actually born without no brain, anencephaly. So you've seen some of those babies will die within a few days of being born, and some babies will have some swelling also around the head side, or their head will be very small. Again, that can also happen, or they can have the spinal bifida. So any problem that happens during the formation of the brain and the spinal cord can lead to neural tube defects, which can manifest as not only spinal bifida but other problem with the brain with the brain itself. Now, so spinal with one of the commonest we have known is folic acid deficiency. Sometimes drugs. Some of us mothers using all these unnecessary drugs, herbs. Some of you just like to take herbs. Some of them can cause problems during the formation of the baby's brain and the spinal cord. Also, exposure to radiation. So if you go for, that's why when you go for x-rays, if you're a woman, again, of childbearing age 18 to 35, they will always ask you whether you're pregnant, and they will always check whether you're pregnant, because if they do an x-ray for you, if you're pregnant, it can cause such kind of abnormalities, neural tube defects. Also, some of our drugs that's why we stress mothers should not use drugs in pregnancy. The issue is that most of the time when neural tube defect is happening, most mothers don't know they are pregnant, and a lot of us are very fond of doing self-medication. Oh, I have malaria, I just go and buy oh, I think I have malaria. So for most of you, go and buy ciprofloxacin. Especially in Nigeria, we are very, very terrible at using medications, antibiotics, without doctor's prescriptions. These are some of the things that cause these issues. The drugs we are using, the fact that we're not taking the folic acid, the exposure to radiation, and sometimes these things happen and we don't have an explanation for it. We are not God. Sometimes we don't know why some of these things happen, but we know these are the common things. So it's not just only folic acid, so many other things can happen. All right. And I know you're saying that, oh, some babies don't take drugs and they give birth to the baby. If a mother is eating a lot of fruits and eating a lot of her vegetables, she can still get her folic acid from them without necessarily taking her drugs. So it depends. So different lifestyle, and that, but we know that we can prevent most of these things by making sure you are taking your folic acid before you get pregnant. The issue is that most of the time, by the time you realize you're pregnant, anything that would have gone wrong has gone wrong. Anything that would have happened would have happened. Because most mothers realize they are pregnant when they mix their second period. I mean, their period for the second month. And by that time, it's already 8 weeks. By that time, the baby is fully formed. The first, all those embryogenesis, all the development of baby's organs and all that happens in the first 8 weeks. So if anything has gone wrong and this mother doesn't know she's even pregnant, that is it. So there's nothing you can do about it. So it is very important that if you're a woman who can likely get pregnant, you are very mindful what you eat, what you're exposed to, and all those other things as well. So I hope that is answer your questions. But spinal bifida can be treated. It's not the end of the world. Most children have had their spinal bifida repaired and they're fine. But sometimes, depending on the extent of involvement, some people may have long-term complications. Some people have hydrocephalus, big head with lots of water. Some people may have lots of sensation in their legs. Some people may not be able to walk. Some people may have problem with their, bladder and bowel and all that. So, but most times we're able to treat spinal bifida. But the best, of course, is to have prevented it and not to allow it to have happened. I hope I have done justice to your question, Chineye. Yes, I think so. You are asking mostly about the causes. So Innocentia Hokonko, baby's weight 6 kilos. She's 1 year and 2 months. Is the weight okay? It is not. It is not at all. This baby is severely malnourished. That's what it means, because your baby should be weighing 10 kilos, even more than 10 kilos, because baby is 1 year and 2 months. 1 year is 10 kilos. A baby weighing 6 kilos at 1 year. And now, is your baby preterm? Because if your baby is preterm, we need to correct it. Otherwise, that is what we call marasmus. It's severe underweight. Okay, this baby needs to go to the hospital now, because we need to rehabilitate the child nutritionally. So I don't know what has happened to the baby, but that weight is too small. It is severe. Okay, it's severe malnutrition or acute malnutrition, marasmus, whatever name you want to call it, but that weight is too small. That child needs to see a pediatrician. So if you are, I don't know where you are, but please, can you go to any of the hospitals that has a pediatrician? If you don't know where to go, go to general hospital, go to a teaching hospital, let them just see your baby, and then they can start to rehabilitate. That weight is too small, and we need to do something about it, because that baby is already at risk of um I don't that's a very high risk baby. Let's put it that way. Let's leave it at that. But please, can you go to the hospital? And I'll be happy if you can let me know the updates on our Facebook group. Okay, there's question on Instagram. Damilola took my 14 weeks baby has had her last immunization. That's not a last immunization. That is a okay last immunization for her age. Okay, but that is not the last immunization, because when you say last immunization, you're going to rub off the pediatricians the wrong way. Okay, there's immunization at 9 months, there's immunization at 15 months, there's immunization at 9 years. So that is not the last immunization. Yes, the next vaccination is 6 months, which is vitamin A. Yes, vitamin A is at 6 months. I thought the next one should be 5 months, which is malaria. We are not yet giving malaria vaccine to everybody. Malaria vaccine is still being rolled out. So when it is fully available, you will know. So usually when we're introducing new vaccines, I'm happy you asked that question. When we're introducing new vaccines, we don't give everybody the same time. So when we're introducing new vaccines, we start with a few states and give the children in those states monitor. There's what we call there are lots of things we do, like we after you introduce something, you need to monitor, is it okay, are the children fine, any side effect, blah blah blah. So they are still doing a lot of that. So, and it's always a gradual process. Okay, so malaria vaccine is being rolled out, but it's not yet in all the states. So it's not yet on the national program of immunization, but we know we now have it, and gradually it will become available. For those of you who have been with us long enough, you will know that is how we did with Prevena vaccine, how we did with Rota vaccine. There were times, so only a few states that were having Rota vaccine, but now everybody's getting Rota. So the same thing with malaria vaccine. So malaria vaccine is not yet fully integrated into the national program on immunization. So when it is available, don't worry, we will let you know, and you can always get it. Okay, but if you live in one of those states where it has been introduced, yes, your baby will get it. I'm not yet sure whether it's at 5 months we're going to be giving it, so we need to know. We'll let you know that. All right, so it's okay, Damilola, you don't need to worry about that. But remember to take your baby for the vitamin A at 6 months, and then remember the 9 months measles and meningitis vaccine and yellow fever, and then remember the measles too at 15 months. Okay, and there's a HPV vaccine at 9 years for both boys and girls. Shami for King say, good evening, Doc. Please, if a 4-year-old baby finishes 30 mils of breast milk in 5 minutes, will it be the same time if baby sucks directly from the breast? It's not necessarily the same. And usually when babies suck directly from the breast, they actually suck more than what you can measure when you express in the bottle. Why are you expressing and giving with the bottle? Just breastfeed the baby directly. We prefer you breastfeed your baby directly from the breast. And please don't start giving new babies bottle. This is how we start introducing what we call nipple confusion. You are going to confuse that baby, and after a while, that mothers will now come and say, "Oh, my baby doesn't want to suck the breast; only want to take the bottle." That is the origin of nipple confusion. newborn babies, put them to the mother's breast and let them breastfeed directly from the mother's breast. The only time we allow you to use, if there's something wrong with the mother cannot breastfeed, and usually we will use cup and spoon and not a bottle, because we don't want you to confuse that baby by giving bottles. It's always one of the most common cause of nipple confusion, and it is always the reason for mothers that will not come later and tell us, oh, my baby will suck from the bottle but will not suck from my breast. And it's always a recipe for later, oh, my breast is not flowing again. So please don't introduce bottles to babies. Give them the breast milk directly from the breast, preferably. Okay, now you can express, but if you are expressing and you're not going to be available to give the baby, let them, especially in this early phase, this is one of the reasons we advocate for 6-month maternity leave. We don't want you to do anything else than breastfeed your baby. As mothers, we want you to be at home. We want you to be with the baby. So there's no other work you should be doing than breastfeeding the baby. Okay. So please stay at home and breastfeed the newborn baby, and don't give them bottles. Just breastfeed them directly, preferably, and to avoid nipple confusion. All right. I hope I didn't miss any question on Instagram. If I did, please just ask again, because I didn't realize questions were already dropping until very recently. Okay, Abisola Jeje Lola, good evening. Thank you for all you do. Is 13 kilos okay for a 3-year-old? Yeah, and every 3-year-old should weigh 14 kilos, but 13 is still okay. We're not worried about that. That's fine. Yeah, so like I said, is the average is 14, but 13 is not too far from 14, so we're not worried. Lena Hashibong, happy new month to you. My baby of 5 months, 12 days, birth weight of 1.4 kilos. Okay, we was preterm after 3 weeks. Current weight on Friday is 5.7. Okay, so first for your baby, we have to calculate your baby's corrected age. So your baby was born 7 weeks earlier. So your baby is 5 months. So if you subtract 1 month, that's 4 months. Another 3 weeks to subtract. So your baby is just about 3 months plus, really, corrected age. So 5.7 is not too bad for a 3-month-old. My baby's head is always hot, but the temperature is normal. If the temperature you measure with a thermometer is normal, there's nothing to worry about. Don't rely on your hand to decide whether baby is hot or not, because if you are hot yourself, you will think your baby is hot. Your hand is actually unreliable. Our hands are unreliable as a measure of temperature, and that is why we have a thermometer, and I'm sure you have a digital thermometer. So as long as the digital thermometer is normal temperature, that is normal temperature. That is more objective and more reliable than you feeling the baby's. Of course, sometimes baby's head is warm when blood is flowing through it, when they're sweating, when they're breastfeeding, they're doing a lot of work on the brain. It does not necessarily mean it is hot. Hot is assuming that it's abnormal, but sometimes baby's temperature is 36.5 to 37.4. So we are not worried as long as your thermometer is measuring normal temperature. And you say baby is losing his hair. There are many reasons why baby can lose their hair. If they have scalp rashes, you may need to check that. If they have what's it called? My brain just went off. Okay, but this one where they have like dandruff on their heads. How come did I can just see the name and it just keep going off my head, but I'll remember later. I'll tell you. So if they have any of those they can have they can lose their hair from that. Sometimes loss of hair is part of the normal hair cycle, so we're not particularly worried. But if they have scalp rashes, or if they have the dandruff one on their head, the name just went off my head. So you can make sure you get to see a doctor so that can be treated if that's the cause of the hair loss. Okay. Blessing saying, can I use fish oil to prepare meal for my baby 1 year, 5 months? You can use fish oil if you want to use fish oil. There's no problem with that. Um, I heard you say HPV at 9 years for both boys and girls. Are boys also involved? Yes, it's for both boys and girls. It's not only for girls. It should be for both boys and girls. So the human papilloma virus vaccine ideally should be given to both. I know we've kind of prioritized the girls, but ideally everybody should be getting it. Different people do different things, but it should be for everybody, really, because the boys can also have HPV infection as well. But of course, the people that are at risk most are the girls because of the cervical cancer. So we are trying to protect the girls the most, but the boys too can have HPV infection, and so they too should be protected as well. All right, oh, that's helpful. All right, Chummy for King. I mean, does babies drink more from breast milk than from the breast? Yeah, baby can suck more from the breast than from the bottle. Of course, you will not be able to know how much baby is sucking from the breast because you cannot measure what is coming from the breast. But sucking from the breast is an active process. So baby is sucking, is drawing. So they tend to draw more than what you can express even out. So but like I explained earlier, we prefer you just breastfeed directly from the breast. So unless baby is sick and we want the baby to have express breast milk or for other reasons, and usually your doctors or pediatrician will tell you what to do. Laurie Samuel, happy new month to you as well. I'm not sure I hope there's no question I've missed. Yeah, no, okay. We've had a lot of questions about immunization and weight today. That seems to be our theme for the day, but which is quite good. I've already talked a little bit about weights and weight monitoring, growth monitoring, and healthy food option. Then immunization. Let's not forget. One thing we need to realize that immunization. There are vaccines that are available, but may not necessarily be part of what the government is giving us for free. So in that case, if you have the money, you can buy those ones, like chickenpox vaccine, for example. But if you don't, no problem. Just at least take the ones that are free and make sure you get those ones. That is the most important thing. Immunization will protect our babies, our children from all these what we call vaccine preventable diseases, killer diseases as well. So there's no reason why our children should be having measles. We've had a little bit of diphtheria scare recently because there's been a lot of diphtheria outbreak. And the reason why we have a lot of diphtheria outbreak is that a lot of mothers don't complete their penta. Some people don't go for the 14 weeks. They go for the 6 weeks, and maybe some remember 10 weeks and then they forget the 14 weeks. So please, we should make sure we complete the penta vaccine. And hopefully the pediatricians will be in touch with the government. We need to actually be giving our children what we call booster doses of diphtheria and tetanus. We should be giving them booster doses at 18 months and at 5 years. Currently in Nigeria, we are not yet giving booster doses, and I won't be surprised. This is also partly why we have a lot of diphtheria outbreaks. So hopefully our government will start to give us our children the booster doses of diphtheria um, and um, and tetanus. But while we're waiting for the government, please at least let's take the ones that are available. One of the things the government always says that even the ones that they give us for free, a lot of mothers don't go for them. So why should they pay for more? Because even though we are getting the vaccines for free, you always have to remember that somebody is paying for it. There's no free lunch. There's even in Freetown, there's no free lunch. So all those vaccines that our children are getting for free at the health centers, the government have to pay for it, they are buying it, and they are not cheap as well. So for those of you who have ever paid for your vaccines, in private hospitals, you know what I'm talking about. Those vaccines are pretty expensive. So that is why it's important for us to make sure we encourage our government and also help our own children by going for the vaccines. And that will lead to less number of children dying from all these vaccine preventable diseases. So I hope we have all been reminded, and we should go for um, our immunizations. Okay. I don't think I have any questions on Instagram right now. I hope I didn't miss anybody's questions. We just have got 10 more minutes to go, or 9, less than 10. But if you still have any question, feel free to ask your question. And if not, if you have questions later on, and for those of you who are just coming back from work and you're just joining us, you're welcome. But if you have any questions about the health of your children and you cannot ask us in this live session, or you are watching this session after we are no longer online, like a recording, don't worry, don't panic. We still have room for you. So just go to our Facebook group and you can post your questions there, and you'll be able to we'll be able to answer your questions. We are there Mondays to Saturdays, and we're able to answer your questions. And some of you try to ask us questions on Sundays, and we've always said that we won't be available on Sundays. So if you have something urgent, the best option is to go to the hospital. But if it's not something urgent, you can always ask us on Monday when we are back from our break. And please, when you're posting questions to our group, please don't attach pictures of genitals. Don't attach pictures of genitals of our children. I know we don't mean it in a bad way, because most of us just, we just want to ask questions, and some of us take pictures of the anus, of the genitals, and all that. It's very wrong. Please don't do that. I think somebody sent me one on our WhatsApp number on, I don't know whether Saturday or Sunday. No, you shouldn't do that, because for us as health professionals, if you send us pictures of children naked, it is a criminal offense. Yes, people have gone to jail for that, because they will think it's promoting pornography, child pornography. So I know you don't mean it that way. You just want us to tell you what is wrong, but you cannot send pictures like that to us on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Instagram. And please don't send it to us on WhatsApp, because you are putting our number at risk. Okay, so those kind of questions, if you cannot ask without sending those kind of pictures, just go to the hospital. We will see you in the hospital, and we can examine your child in privacy. Okay, but that is not possible when you're sending it on social media. All right. Ashibon Glina say, can your girl of 14-year-old start taking folic acid? Yes, she can. Why not? She can take it. We recommend it usually from 18 years, to be honest. 18 years, because that is when most girls are sexually active, and that is what we typically call childbearing age, 18 to 35. Or if you are over 35 and you are still likely to be pregnant or have a baby, because these days our girls are getting married later and later, please still take folic acid as well. Even though we say 35, if you are 40, 45 and you're still likely to have a baby, please take your folic acid as well. For girls, if you are not sure, it's better to err on the side of caution or not. We were not expecting a 14-year-old to be, because it's not just about them being sexually active or not. We know that their body is not mature enough to carry a baby, so we don't want a 14-year-old sexually active. We don't want them to get pregnant, so it's best not to. But if you are not sure and you worry, Why not? It's better to take the folic acid than for the child to have. It's more about protection for the new for a baby if the baby get if the girl get pregnant. But hopefully we shouldn't be having pregnancy in a 14-year-old. So typically we would say from 18. But these days, if girls are sexually active before 18 and they can get pregnant, please let them take their folic acid. I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. So there's no law about it. So I think the most important thing is that anybody that will be pregnant should take their folic acid. I think we should just leave it like that and take the age picture out of it. Um, okay. So I think I should be doing my bye boy. Oh, okay. Somebody has asked another question. She feels well on formula. I can't remember. Did you ask a question about that before the formula part? You're talking about your is it your baby, the 14 weeks old baby? I can't remember if you've asked a question before about the formula and all that. You need to ask again because I can't remember what you said. What we really want for your baby is 14 weeks, 5 months. You said we want your baby to be on breast milk, not formula. Yeah, I know a lot of us do formula, but we always say the right thing. It's always good to know what is best. You may not go for what is best. You can do what is second best, depending. And we're not. It's a judgment-free zone. Nobody's going to say this or that. I know a lot of mothers struggle with us pediatricians saying that. Or saying what we say about breastfeeding, but uh we really prefer your baby to be on breast milk. Okay, so yeah, we know there are reasons why some babies cannot take breast milk if mom is late or things like that, but it's best. Okay, so if you read on your formula, they will write it there, even on that formula, that breast is best. Breast milk is the best way to feed your baby. It is written on every kind of formula that you buy. There's a reason why they write it there, because they want you to also be aware of it, that even though you are buying this formula, they want you to be aware that it's not the best. Okay, you are going for second or third best. The best is for you to give your baby your own breast milk. There are so many other things there that is not, you cannot, there are some things in breast milk you will not get in formula. Okay, all the protection maybe is going to get from your antibodies, from all those things, you are not going to get them from formula, no matter how good the formula is. They are still far, 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 far away from breast milk, from the original. Okay, they are trying, they are doing their best and all that, but it's still not the same. All right, so your breast is still the best for your baby. If you can do it, that will be better. If you can't do it for any reason, of course, you are welcome to go for another option. But if you can, and I think a lot of mothers don't want to, I think sometimes some of our reasons for not breastfeeding our babies are really not good enough reasons not to. We have a lot of support available for you to support you. If you need help making sure you breastfeed, just ask us. There's a breastfeeding number. I think I posted it the last time. Let me see whether I can see. If you are struggling with breastfeeding and you need a breastfeeding support, we now have a breastfeeding club which is available on Instagram, and they have a WhatsApp number which, if you call them on that WhatsApp number, they will give you support. I just want you to be aware there's support for you. Don't let people quickly discourage you from breastfeeding your baby. A lot of people try to discourage mothers from breastfeeding and try to quickly tell you to go and use other option. Please don't listen. Come to us, ask for that help, and we will make sure we help you do the best by your baby. And I'm sure you will love it at the end, and your baby will love it as well. So just to say that. Um, okay, you're asking about the weight of your baby. 5.3 at 10 weeks, 5.4. I can't remember what was the birth weight. Well, if the birth weight is fine, 5.3 is not 5.4. What was the weight of the baby at birth? I think that is important. 5.4 is not too bad, but I really want to know what is the weight. So we know how much the baby has added in the last 3 months. Well, 5.4, if your baby was, for example, 3 kilos, we expect the baby to at least to have added at least nonsense. So 3.3 and now weighing 5.4 could be better. Could be better because baby should gain averagely 30 grams a day. So that's about 900 grams a month. So for a 14 weeks old, that's 3 months old baby, that's about 2.7 kilos should have been added. So maybe so you're maybe weighing closer to 6 kilos, but 5.4 is not too bad. But see, the gap between from 10 to 14 weeks, maybe didn't seem to have gained much. So we should be expecting to be closer to 6 kilos by now, but it's not too bad. So just ensure you're feeding your baby properly. Somebody saying, what can help our breast from sagging after breastfeeding? Okay. I'm not quite sure it is the breastfeeding that is sagging your breast. Okay, it's a natural thing that can happen to anybody, whether you breastfeed or not. Um, but you know what you can do is to make sure you are wearing your fembra, and all that. I personally I think it's more of a body type thing. Some people have, pesky brides, even whether they breastfeed for children. Why some people tend to, even I've seen people who have never had a baby and the breast is a little bit flat. So it's more of a individual difference. It's just the same way some people they are very busty and some of us are not so busty. It's just an individual thing. It's not particularly about breastfeeding per se. Okay, that's just that, but whatever you need to do, just do that. I'm not sure it's in my it's in my field to tell you what to do. I'm a pediatrician, not a plastic surgeon or a breast surgeon like the general surgeon. Okay. But one thing I can tell you is that when you breastfeed, you are protected from breast cancer, which is better. Okay, so there are lots more to breastfeeding and benefit of it than just the sagging. I think most people would rather not have cancer than and having saggy breasts. I don't know whether that makes sense, but I guess you should ask people that is their field. I like to abide by my own calling and stay with myself as a pediatrician and not an expert in breast or breast tissue. So I leave that to the surgeons and the breast surgeons and the plastic surgeons. All right, thank you so much. My time is up. I gotta go. So, but like I said, if you still have any question, thank you. For those of you who have been consistent, Loretta Moore, Chummy for King, and a few other people on Facebook, Instagram. Thank you so much for joining me today. Otherwise, I would have been the only one here. So, but if you still have any questions, feel free to go to our Facebook group and post your question. Please be patient with us. We sometimes take us up to 48, 72 hours to answer questions. It's a place where you ask non-emergency kind of questions. So we don't do urgent, we don't do emergency. Anything urgent, emergency is hospital. Come and meet us at the hospital and we will deal with it there. But if it is something like, oh, it's my baby's weight okay, should I give breast milk, should I do this, should I do that, those kind of things can wait for us, and so we will answer them over time. But if your baby is sick, your baby needs urgent medical attention, please you have to take the child to the hospital immediately, where myself, my colleagues will be able to help you at that point. So, and we are online Mondays to Friday, Saturdays, so you can always ask your questions. And if you want to read about any topic we've mentioned, immunization, growth, weights, and all those things, go to our website, www.axipediatricians.com. All those topics have been dealt with in extensive way. Or if you want to listen, you can go to Ask the Talk Me ATP podcast, or you can go to our YouTube channel, ATP TV with double E at the end. So you can get all this information in details in all these platforms, all our social media platforms. Follow us on our social media platform, join our Facebook group, and you will keep learning. So have a wonderful evening, and it is bye from me. Bye bye.